Evening folks. Communication. How effective a listener are you? Are you comfortable with prolonged periods of silence? Just that short silence, do you feel that you want to fill the gap, you want to say something? I'm going to talk a little bit this week about communication skills and effective communication. And as a coach, that's really, really important in being able to deliver my service, to be able to coach. Because if I'm not listening, I'm not getting it. I'm not finding out what the symptoms are. I'm not finding out where the individual wants to go and what their drive and motivation is. So for me, communication skills at all levels is something that's really, really important. I want to share an analogy with you, and I want to challenge you to go away and then give me some feedback in terms of just how good a listener are you. Now the analogy is just over a minute. I want you to think about this in context of any conversation you have, but for the purpose, we're going to imagine that this happens over a minute. And the conversation is going on for the first 20 seconds. You're really engrossed. You're listening. You're actively aware of what's being said. It's all being, taken in. You're watching body language. You're picking up all of the small signals. You've got good eye contact. All of those notions and things you'll have heard about in terms of good listening skills. But then for the second 20 seconds, what's actually happening is you're now beginning to formulate your response. You're now beginning to work out, well, what is it actually that I want to talk about? What's the point that I want to make in this conversation? And here's the real moment, that the last final 20 seconds of this conversation, the last part of this minute, you then interrupt before the person you're listening to is even finished talking. How many of you can actually relate to that? And not necessarily, as a minute conversation, but in terms of the analogy of having that conversation, of being that person that all of a sudden you become aware of what you're thinking about, no longer listening to what they're saying, but actually preparing yourself to respond. And how many times do you interrupt to put your point of view across before somebody has stopped talking? As business owners, how many of you do that to your employees? As parents, how many of you do that to your children? It's amazing how much we don't listen. And as a result, it is even more amazing of how much information we miss and we don't pick up. This week, I'd like you to start thinking about how effectively you communicate and whether or not you're a good listener or whether you're just a conversational listener. I'm going to give you some advices and tips in terms of how to improve your skills. But the first